So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Pat Brown, or Patrick Brown for those that haven't really heard of him. He made his professional debut on the card which he pretty much was the main event, and he absolutely blasted out his opponent with ease, I should say. And this was his first professional bout. Um, he's got a lot of hype behind him. He's signed with Eddie Hearn, and he's had quite a lot of amateur bouts as well. In terms of got quite a lot of reputation within the amateur circuit, I should say. But in terms of his performance tonight, it was against a very durable, or very tough opponent, I should say. I've never heard of this guy, but his name was Federico Grandone. Hopefully, I've pronounced his name correctly. Now, this guy currently had 7 wins, 5 losses on his record with 2 draws. Now, his record doesn't really shout out a tough opponent, but when you watch the fight, you know what I mean, this guy was quite tough, whereas most people at this stage, in terms of fights that people who are making their debut normally fight against, more you like your journeymen sort of thing, go over with pretty much the lightest of punches that you technically throw. But Pat Brown threw some big shots, and he was landing at a will when he wanted on this guy. And this guy was still there. It took Pat Brown, was it three and a bit rounds, give or take? Was it 3 or 4 rounds? Can't remember off the top of the head, but before he managed to get him out. And the reason for that is because he had to soften him up, and he softened him up, Pat Brown, to the body. He hurt him quite a lot with these body shots, and that was the main indicator of the reason why the fight got stopped in the end. But as I said, most journeymen at this stage would pretty much go down with light shots, to be fair, and the fight would be pretty much over. But this guy took Pat Brown, you know what I mean, some good rounds, and he would have learnt a lot from this first fight as his professional debut. And it's a tough fight for someone like that to go into, because yes, this guy's lost 5 times, but it's a case where he's very a tough Argentinian boxer, and he gave it back as well. He was catching Pat Brown with some very big shots of his own, and for me, it's quite good to see, because his jaw got tested, and going forward, he could only get better at Pat Brown. Now, it is his first professional bout. Now, it just depends on which way Eddie Hearn wants to kind of move him. Now, honestly, for those that haven't watched it, go and watch the fight. Like, this was pretty much a European title level fight, because this guy was very tough and durable, and he came to fight and he came to win. So, could this be the setting stone for greatness for Pat Brown? Could, you know what I mean, this fight be, how could I say, the the make weight type of fight, in terms of, and what I mean by that is, could Eddie Hearn be thinking, you know what, let's push this guy quite quick, quite soon, and let's get him, let's say, a British title shot, then Commonwealth, etc., quite quick, because you don't throw someone like Pat Brown, who hasn't had a professional fight before, in with someone like this guy, because it's a banana slip, because he could have easily have lost on his professional debut, and he wouldn't have looked good for Eddie Hearn, and he would have got a lot of backlash. So yeah, he took a big risk in terms of putting him in with someone like this. So could his next fight potentially be, as I said, if not a British title, maybe an English title, whoever that may be, at cruiserweight? Or could he just again throw him in straight away with a few more fights and then a British title sort of thing? Now, in the British scene around the cruiserweight division, there's some good fighters in this weight. Now, a lot of the top boys are potentially going to be moving up, question mark. Obviously, we know Richard Riakporhe's moved up to heavyweight now. Unsure at the moment what Chris Billam-Smith's going to be doing. Yes, he's got a fight coming up soon. That's still at cruiserweight, but how much longer could he make the cruiserweight limit? Jack Massey, you know what I mean, has fought at heavyweight before. He's down at cruiserweight now. Could he be fluctuating between the two? We've got Vidal Riley and Chef Clark. Both of these guys are going up against each other. And then we've got Callum Johnson. We've got Alois Yumbi as well. And Isaac Chamberlain, Mikel Lawler, Elizarro. Some big, big names in this division. So, I mean, how far potentially could someone like a Pat Brown go? Because he looked quite big and stocky for the weight as well. So, he's only going to get better in my eyes. And hopefully we could see a very, very good potential prospect move up in terms of the British scene, because we know that a lot of the old boys now, like the big names in the sport, like your Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, even your Derek Chisora, Dillian White at some point, a lot of the big British names in terms of the boxing circuit, are going to retire. So who are going to be the next up and comers? Yes, you've got potential at this moment in time, Pat Brown. You've got a question mark on Ben Whittaker. You've got a question mark on what's the lightweight guy called Adam Azim. I forgot his name. I couldn't believe I forgot his name there. So these are the next generation. And in terms of heavyweight wise, we have Moses Itauma, who for me could be the next biggest thing in terms of British heavyweight boxing, along with question mark Fabio Wardley. I think he'll be up there with some type of title. I just don't know where or how far he could go. And obviously Daniel Dubois still quite young as well. So British boxing's in a good, healthy way at this pretty much moment in time. But for Pat Brown, I'm guessing his ambitions are, or is, I should say, to become the world champion at some point. And then obviously at this present moment in time, the biggest name in the cruiserweight division is Jaya Pataya. But potentially by the time Pat Brown's up there, Jai might have moved up to heavyweight. Who knows what he potentially wants to do in terms of his career. But the other cruiserweight champions currently, we've got Gilberto Ramirez, we've got Badu Jack. They are the other two champions within the division as well. So again, yeah, it's a good potential open division for someone like Pat Brown to come into. Because again, there's an opportunity there for him. And as I said, in terms of someone like a light heavyweight prospect, in terms of Ben Whittaker, I feel that he could potentially move up as well. I know I talked about him earlier, but I feel that he could potentially move up because he's quite limmy, quite thin for the weight at this moment in time, and he's only going to fill out. So he will be up there at some point in that cruiserweight division as well. And I think it'd be good to see these two in the future go up against each other. But for those of you, obviously, that did watch the fight for Pat Brown versus can't remember the guy's name now that I mentioned at the start, but yeah, let me know your thoughts and how did you see the fight in the end, and how far do you think this guy could go in terms of professional boxing circuit? Do you reckon he can become a world champion? And if he can't become a world champion, what about a British or maybe European champion? But as always, guys, please let me know your thoughts. Please subscribe and comment. Bless.